All right, I'm going to do number 1 again just so it's on this recording. So you multiply the 6 times the 4, which we did. We got 24. And then x squared times x to the first, maybe, is x to the third. And then y to the first times y to the third is y to the fourth. So what about number 2? When I multiply negative 3 times negative 4, that gives me positive 12. And then I have an x to the third times x to the fourth, which is going to give me x to the 7th. And then y squared times y to the third is y to the 5th. Again, no standard form because it's one term. You don't have to worry about rearranging anything. Anybody have any questions? Some of y'all look like I'm boring you to death. All right, go ahead and try both of these. Sometimes you just have one term that you're going to multiply by multiple terms. You just distribute it. And then if you end up having any like terms, you're going to combine those. And then we are going to write it in standard form. So to start with number 3, just make sure you distribute that 5x squared to every term in the parentheses. How many terms are in that parentheses? 4 of them, right? Okay. 3x to the 5th, negative x to the 3rd, 7x, and negative 4. Those are different terms. So we're just going to distribute that 5x squared to all 4 of those terms. And then the same thing with number 4. Distribute that 3x squared to the 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. If there are any like terms to combine, combine them. And then just make sure you write your answer, your final one, in standard form. Highest degree term first. Sometimes when you distribute, it's already in standard form, so you don't have to change anything. You can just leave it as it is. Just make sure you have your highest degree first, and you go and decrease the order from there. So with number 3, we're going to distribute 5x squared times 3x to the 5th. What does that give me? 15x to the 7th, okay. And then 5x squared times a negative x to the 3rd is going to be a negative 5x to the 5th. And then 5x squared times positive 7x is going to give me 35x to the 3rd, yep. And then 5x squared times negative 4 is a negative 20x squared. Do I have any like terms that I need to combine? No. Do I need to rearrange it, or is it already standard? It's already standard, so that's all I have to do there. Same exact thing with number 4. We are going to distribute the 3x squared to each term. So we get 12x to the 4th minus 6x to the 3rd plus 3x squared. Anything I need to do there? No. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Oops. All right. If you'll take a minute and write down 5. That is a binomial times a binomial. We use what we call the FOIL method. That only is applicable for binomial times a binomial, but the process is the same no matter how many terms you're multiplying by how many other terms. You're still just going to distribute each term in that first parenthesis to every term in the second parenthesis. And then you combine your like terms and write your answers in standard form. So we take that 2x in that first parenthesis, and we are going to distribute it to the 4x and to the 5. So 2x times 4x, that's my first two terms. That gives me 8x squared. And then we go 2x times 5. That's my outer terms, spelling FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. That's going to give me 10x. Negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. And negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15. Am I finished with that one? I got to combine my like terms. The biggest mistake people make with these is just adding incorrectly when you're combining your like terms. So just pay attention to the signs. Make sure that you're adding that positive 10 with that negative 12x. And that gives us a negative what? 2x. Okay. And that is in standard form, starting with the highest degree. 6 is exactly the same. The only difference is in that second parenthesis, there's a third term. So, for example, I'm going to let you work this one, but that 2x in the first parenthesis is going to be multiplied by the x squared, by the other 2x that's in the second parenthesis, and also by the 3. And then you do exactly the same thing with that negative 5. We distribute it to the x squared, to the negative 2x, and to the 3. And then you're just going to combine all of your like terms, writing your answer in standard form. This we don't technically call FOIL because you don't have a first, outer, inner, last because you have 3 terms in that second parenthesis, but the process is exactly the same. And then again, the mistakes that are made on these is just usually in the combining of your terms. So just be careful with your signs. Make sure you're adding those correctly. I usually tend to draw these arrows just so I can keep track of what I'm doing. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. 2x times x squared is 2x to the third. 2x times negative 2x is a negative 4x squared. And then 2x times 3 is a positive 6x. So I've multiplied that 2x by all 3 terms in that second parenthesis. And then I just repeat the process with that 5. Slide it over a little bit. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times negative 2x is a positive 10x. And negative 5 times 3 is a negative 15. And then it's just a matter of combining your terms, making sure it's in standard form. What goes first? 2x to the third. And then I'm looking at my x squareds. I have a negative 4x squared and a negative 5x squared, which combine to give me negative 9x squared. And then I have a positive 6x and a positive 10x, which is going to give me a positive 16. And then that 15 doesn't have anything to combine with. And so therefore the result is the 2x to the third minus 9x squared plus 16x minus 15. Questions? All right. 7 is the same, but it's just more terms. Each term in that first parenthesis, there are 3 of them, gets multiplied by all 3 in the second parenthesis. So if you haven't already started on that one, go ahead and start, please. don't like them on the arrows. I've seen some people using their fingers. First term times first term times second times third, and move into the second term. Whatever helps you stay organized is how you can do it. So when I multiply that 2x squared, I get 2x to the 4 minus 10x to the third plus 14x squared. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but with that 3x, a negative 3x at that. So that's going to give me a negative 3x to the third. That's a negative 3x times a negative 5x, which is a positive 15x squared. And then negative 3x times 7, if this would actually write, would be a negative 21x. Am I finished? No, I still have that 1 that has to get multiplied by everything in that second parenthesis. So then I'm going to repeat. 1 times x squared is 1x squared minus 5x plus 7. And so now we just have a lot of terms that we have to deal with. Everybody good so far? What's the highest degree? X to the 4th. And there's only one of those, so I'm going to bring that down. Then x to the thirds, I actually see 2 of those. I get a negative 10x to the third and a negative 3x to the third, which gives me a negative 13x to the third. Then x squareds, I have a positive 14x squared, a positive 15x squared, and a positive 1x squared. So that's 30x squared positive. Does everybody agree with that? Okay. Then I have single x's. I got a negative 21x. I got a negative 5x to give me a negative 26. And then that 7 is all by itself, so we just bring it down. And our final result is 2x to the 4th minus 13x to the third plus 30x squared minus 26x plus 7. Yeah, but there was that one other one too, right over here. There's one extra. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I mean, you could do bigger ones. I'm not going to give you anything bigger than 3 and 3. Try 8. Then 9 will be our last one, but I want to talk about 9 because there's a mistake people make with that one a lot. But 8 is just another practice on 303 because it is a lot of terms. It's not that it's hard. It just gets a little confusing. When you multiply out 3 terms by 3 terms, you end up with 9 terms that you got to keep straight and add together and all that fun stuff. And 9 isn't hard. It's just there's one mistake that people make with this all the time. Even though I say, here's the mistake, don't do this. I still have people do it. Again, with 8, I'm just going to distribute each term in the first parenthesis to each term in the second parenthesis. Just be careful with your signs as well, because that could cause an issue. That x to the third that I'm distributing is a negative. Then we're going to do the 2x. And then lastly, I have to do that negative 4. Again, so now I have 9 terms that I have to keep straight. I have to add together, combine, and write in standard form. This time my highest degree is the x to the 6th. There is only one of those, so I'm just going to bring that one down. Then I don't have an x to the 5th, but I do have some x to the 4th. So I have a 1x to the 4th and a 6x to the 4th, and that's all that I have of those, which is going to give me 7x to the 4th. And then I have a negative 5x to the 3rd and a negative 12x to the 3rd, which is negative 17x to the 3rd. Then I've got, let's see, just one of those x squared, so I'm going to bring that down. I have a positive 10x and a positive 4x, which gives me positive 14x, and then that 20 is all by itself again, so we just bring that down. It is in standard form. All of my terms have been combined, so I get a negative 3x to the 6th plus 7x to the 4th, excuse me, minus 17x to the 3rd minus 2x squared plus 14x minus 20. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Now, 9, again, is not hard, but there is one mistake. First question, what does it mean to square something? Multiply it by itself. Here's the mistake that I see all the time. With problems like this, people say, oh, well, I'm just going to square the 2x and I'm going to square the 1 and I get 4x squared minus 1. That is not correct. Squaring something means you have to multiply it by itself, which means I need to take that binomial and write it twice and FOIL it out. So anytime you see a binomial with that square on the outside, the first step you should do is to write it twice. And then it's just a matter of FOILing it out. Okay? And again, I said it's not hard. It's just people make this mistake all the time. Even though I say don't do this, I still have people do this. So just make sure you know what squaring means. It means multiply by itself. Write it twice. FOIL it out. Combine your like terms. If you haven't done that already, let's go ahead and finish this one up. This is the last one. So we distribute 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Negative 1 times 2x is another negative 2x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. And then I'm just going to combine my like terms. And we should get 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. Anybody have any questions?